Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the tightest press box in England. Welcome to Deepdale, where the sun is shining. It is bitterly cold here in Lancashire for the lunchtime kickoff. Norwich City at high-flying Preston North End, hoping to continue their upturn in form under Philippe Clement. And we are here to bring you the Norwich City team news, which we will. And the headline is that Josh Sargent remains unavailable, still undergoing the concussion protocol. And he is not available for Norwich City in any shape or form this afternoon, which means Norwich City go unchanged. It is Kovacevic in goal, Fisher, McConville, Darling and Krizene as the back four, Maatsen and McLean as the midfield two, Forson and Schwartau on either flank, with Jacob Wright behind Jovan Makama. The subs bench: Grimshaw, Medic, Cordova, Stacey, Slimani, Springett, Jurasek, Mark Hondes and Chris Gorin. So only one change to the matchday squad from last weekend, and that is that Jack Stacey is in for Errol Mundle-Smith, who didn't just feature for the 21s last night, but also managed to get himself sent off. But a big boost that Norwich are welcoming him back to the matchday squad, although the way Callum Fisher has been performing, he may well find opportunities hard to come by. Paddy, good morning. Nice to see you. Let's go with the headline, which is no Josh Sargent, again, still undergoing that concussion protocol.
Yeah, no, it's a blow. I mean, there's a bit of conjecture. We're speaking to people, obviously, and club-wise, and they suggested it might be a 12-day period. We thought when we looked at the EFL protocols, it was 6 days after the competitive incident, i.e. Sheffield United. It's now been 11 days. And thereafter, it's an external checklist he has to pass. Philippe said yesterday, listen, he's been out on the grass. He was sat there, obviously, in the dugout area last Saturday, and clearly not reached the point where it's a mix of the protocols. As Philippe also said yesterday, listen, they have to follow the rules. It's black and white as far as they're concerned. They have to do what's right by the player, by the club. And if that is the case, that it's 12 days, then clearly Boxing Day onwards, Josh Sargent will be available. So, but as I also said in that follow-up to Philippe yesterday, okay, well, if he isn't available, Jovan Makama didn't really grasp his chance. First start in the number 9 position for Norwich, 2 goals, looked the part, and it wouldn't be the worst scenario. And that's how it's looking, because it's an unchanged 4, it's an unchanged 11. And with Matthias Quistgarden available as well, let's see what this group can do away from home against not just an informed team, but consistently this season one of the informed teams in Preston. So it's not ideal, clearly, but you have to put the players' welfare first. And ultimately, if it's a combination of he's still not quite there, plus he hasn't ticked all the boxes he needs to, then it's not even a debate, is it? So it's a shame, because I think, Sargent's power and athleticism could have been quite key today, but let's be honest, Makama brings plenty of that as well. So, and he won't lack the confidence after last weekend. So, as Clement always says, he doesn't look at the negative elements of that. He looks to people to take on opportunities, and boy, did Jovan Makama do that. Yes, last weekend. Sorry. So, that's the way they're going to have to look at it, and that's the way they're going to have to approach it. Is that okay? In Sargent, they're missing arguably the best of his type in the division, but they compensated for him last weekend. Let's see if they can do it again today.
Yeah, I spoke to Jovan post-game, and he was very honest in that he wants to be a number 9. That is where he sees himself playing in the future. So any opportunity you can get in a team that has Josh Sargent is one that he's absolutely desperate to take. And if he can follow up what he did last weekend with another good performance and some more goals, I don't know, do we then get in the realms, Paddy, where he's given Philippe Clement the type of headache that he's kind of spoken about that he wants for Boxing Day?
Well, yes, is the answer. And I don't get the sense, despite the warm words from Clement towards Sargent, there would be any sentiment come into it. If Jovan Makama comes today and does what he did last weekend, and the result is the same, then for me, he is in possession of the shirt for Boxing Day. And, what a great situation to be in. If it's not a case we need to rush Josh Sargent back because we look so, as they did earlier in the season, so lacking in terms of the drop-off from the players who came in for him, then that's a great position to be in. And that is, he said it, I think, in one of the later answers yesterday, that there's areas of the team looking at this 5-game period now over the festive period. There's areas of the team he feels he can rotate, he feels he has options now, he feels he has that competition. And there's conversely areas of the team, and I think central midfield for me is the standout where he doesn't have that, and he might need to rely on the likes of Matson and McLean. So, yeah, in answer to that, yeah, if Makama comes in today and is as potent and as threatening and as much of a pest to Preston defenders, then if it is Sargent back in the selection mix for Boxing Day and onwards, bearing in mind it's a very congested period, what a great place to be in, and a place that, let's be honest, they haven't been this season at the top end of the pitch where you had genuine options and there isn't a huge drop-off from whoever goes in and leads the line.
Yeah, absolutely, and some more players back. I know obviously some of those guys haven't quite made the squad, but I mean, he confirmed yesterday Liam Gibbs has trained, Lucian Mahovo has trained, and good to see Jack Stacey back in the squad as well, because you can foresee a situation whereby if this game maybe doesn't go the way that they would like, having his pace and directness and athleticism off the bench, it's better to have that than to not have it, as has been the case in recent weeks, particularly, as we said, going into a period where there's 4 or 5 games in the matter of a few days spaced out between each other.
And isn't it good? I mean, like I say, today, unchanged 11 and pretty much an unchanged bench, Stacey in for Mundell Smith. That consistency that you need to try and establish in terms of performance and result, it's a lot easier if the lineup, if the personnel are the same, because what that means is...
Yes, it is, yeah. We'll say that's Kitman Pete.
Yeah, I was going to remark on you. You've gone very creative there with the jingles and the baubles and the lights. Very nice, Connor. But it's got to aid the quest for consistency. And as he said yesterday, and he's right, we spent most of this season, rightly, focusing on Carr Road and what they wasn't doing there, and in very short order he's gone 7 points from 9. It should have been 9 from 9 if they'd have held on against Oxford, and now it flips to can they go away from home and find that level of consistency. And in answer to that he said, well, that's the only way they go from where they are in this state at the bottom end of the table to where a Preston are, which is contending for the top 6 positions. It's consistency away from home as much as it is at Carr Road, and that's why this is a great test. And you got that sense from speaking to him yesterday. He's almost relishing this as a yardstick, as a benchmark. If they come away from here and they've got a result and they've deserved to get a result, that really does underline that they're onto something here now, and that you can look forward with a degree of optimism into the rest of the festive period, the second part of the season, a January window to add to it as well. Papa Jallo and coming back in 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully, and it all feels positive. And today will be a good test of that positivity and of how far short they still are, maybe. As we saw at Watford, they did a lot of good things right, but there were still elements that were wrong there, and they got punished and they walked off the pitch, undeservedly getting something from that game. Let's see if they can take a step forward from there today against, as we say, a Preston team are up there for a reason.
Yep, let's bring you that Preston team. The big headline news from their team news is no Daniel Jefferson, who's been a real force for them up front today. He misses out, not in the squad at all, which means a change up front for them. They've got Iverson in goal. It'll be a back three of Offia, Story and Hughes. They've got Valentin at right wing back. It'll be Whiteman and Armstrong as the midfield 2, with Small as the left wing back, and then it'll be Lewis Dobbin, Alfie Devine with Smith up front. Their suspense: Walton, Lindsay, Vucevic, McCann, Frockia, Thompson, Forvardson, Potts and Will Keane. So, I mean, we've spoken about this in recent weeks, Paddy, about luck and, Norwich not necessarily meeting teams at their best moment, but for Preston to have their top goal scorer out for this game in Daniel Jefferson, someone who's earned rave reviews along with Lewis Dobbin as one of the loanees that Paul Heckingbottom has brought here, that's the sort of rub of the green that Norwich weren't getting earlier on in the season.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope it proves to be the case. And I do like listening to Clement when he breaks down the challenge of the opponent, and
it's a bit better than Manning to be on that.
Oh no, that's harsh. You're harsh going there, Connor. It's Christmas. Festive greetings to all. But now, obviously, the fact that you listen to a manager decoding it, and when he talks, you think, yeah, that's a bit more than platitudes and behaviours. And he talked yesterday about lowest joint conceded amount of goals. They're very good in terms of organisation and structure, but he also talked about they're very unique in terms of what they've faced so far in the Clement, in that they go pressing man for man, and it's very hard to break through that, and that takes a degree of bravery on the ball, certainly in defensive areas from Norwich. Also about very good in transition. They come in front of your goal very quickly, pacey players like Dobbin, and they're obviously clinical as well. And you pull all those threads together and you think, okay, he's grasped what they offer today, So now the interesting bit is, what will Norwich do to counteract those threats? And they did it at Sheffield United, they did it at Watford without getting the result. They certainly did it against Southampton, and that's why you're very confident that Clement, it can see the problems, can set up a team and instruct a team to try and counteract that, and hopefully then the last bit is the hardest bit, is execute on that and then come off this pitch with a performance and a result, which leaves you to think again, this is a head coach who, tactically and technically, as well as the man management, has got a lot going for him. So let's see if it all plays out. But there is no doubt that is a boost without them missing, Jefferson. I'm sure if you're head bottom of McCall, they will feel that a bit like with the Sargent scenario with Nakama, whoever's come in today, go and grab your opportunity. And what they will be is a squad is very confident. They're very seasoned operators at this level. Heckingbottom's a very seasoned campaigner. I'm sure adversity like that is not going to sort of waylay them too much. So it's still going to be a very tough assignment.
Yeah, it is. You only need to take a quick glance at the league table. Preston in third, 35 points off 21 games.
Yeah.
They are. They're hoping to close that gap to Middlesbrough, who I think play a little bit later today away at Bristol City. So they've got an opportunity to move within. I'm trying to do some quick maths here. 8, 9. 5 points, I think, of Borough in second. Norwich, of course, with a win, theoretically could get themselves out of the relegation zone as well this lunchtime, with Portsmouth travelling to Derby at 3 o'clock and Oxford away at Charlton in what is another big game at that end of the table. Charlton, of course, come to Carrow Road on Boxing Day.
Here's one for you, Connor. You go on, you tell your anecdote about Saturday.
Yeah, well, we did. We were in receipt of some yellow and green ones this week because Paddy did the N&N hospital visit. I did the Nook visit as well, the children's hospice. And I have to say, first and foremost, credit to everyone at the club for the way that was pulled together, and for the players for giving up their time, and for just being so great with the children in what is for some of them a very difficult time. But I think we somehow, well, I definitely did. I don't think you quite managed to get one.
I might have been late. I might have been 5 minutes late, so I missed out on the Santa hat, the yellow Santa hat. But you got one.
I did get one, but it was confiscated by my 6-year-old, who's absolutely delighted with it. So he went to school in it yesterday, which is why it hasn't made the trip up to Preston with me. I did actually contemplate wearing it for my verdict, but I think that would have only worked if they'd have got 3 points this afternoon. So, it was something we did think about. Maybe for Boxing Day, we'll see. Paddy, we had a few comments at the top about AJ Tvarez. Let's speak a little bit about that situation. Obviously, some reports coming out yesterday, both in Spain and England, that he's poised to join Barcelona, of all places. Barcelona, which isn't a bad move, is it, for anyone, let alone a 15-year-old.
It's warmer in Barcelona than it.
It probably is. Tom asking there, any more meat on the bones of Tvarez leaving? Take it, we couldn't agree a pro deal with a lad due to top club interest. It's not even that. It's his age. I think you've got to be 17 to sign a pro deal. So as it stands, he is free and available to go where he would like. Now, Norwich would be in a position where they would be due compensation. It would likely go to a tribunal. From what we gather, there hasn't been any club-to-club contact at this stage. But Paddy, also probably because of the nature of this, it's not like a regular transfer where that would necessarily need to happen.
No, we've checked again in the last hour on arrival here, and it's the same message, club to club. They've had nothing, they've heard nothing, but that's not unsurprising given it's only later this month he turns 16 and that becomes an actual tangible thing that can happen. But there's enough noise around it now. I think it's safe to say Norwich expect AJ Tvarez to move on, and they have no real say in it. They clearly were aware of the talent in their midst. We go back to the summer and he's 15 and change, and he's
lively that day.
He was playing against Volendam, and he'd been clearly stepped up and given a sense of what it is to be around the first team group, and that I'm sure was all part of the process of maybe hoping that this period 16, 17, 18 he would see Norwich as the best environment for him. Now until it happens we're only conjecture, but it would feel that maybe him and his family and the people maybe around him of deciding that they're going to take his career in a different route. So,
and the key bit to add is, our understanding is he's got a Portuguese passport, which basically enables this to happen a lot more smoothly than I guess it would do if he was just an English national as well. Exactly. So all of those layers make this, feel quite...
I mean, to be fair, it's not it'll be like you look at the players who come from that La Masia academy. I'm assuming that's still where he would pitch up. Most latterly, Lamine Yamal. It's a head turner, and you just hope for the lad, if that's what transpires, that it proves to be a very critical stage of his development. As good as he is now, as they feel, probably as above the age group that he's playing in now. There was talk this morning from club officials about physically, he's just bigger and more powerful and more robust. Aside from the technical element, that's why maybe he's standing out to the degree he is in his peer group. But it's we only have to go back to an Alex Matos who jumped and went to Chelsea, and then in short order he's playing at Huddersfield on loan, and he was on the bench against Sheffield United the other day, wasn't he? So there's absolutely no guarantees that this is the right move, but if it is where they go with him, then good luck. And
it's life-changing, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that's it. And even if it didn't work out at Barcelona in terms of he progresses to being a first-team option for them, you have Barcelona on your CV. I'm pretty sure you'll come back to England to get yourself a good club. So we'll watch with interest if that's how it transpires. But in terms of the Norwich City element to this, unfortunately,
not a huge amount.
Given the age, given the fact that he isn't under contract, that's the nature of the beast.
Yep. So we'll watch with interest in the coming days. He turned 16, I think, in 8 days. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the point at which he decides to go. A couple of footnotes as well, because I've seen a few people ask about maybe why he hasn't been in the first team. He's been injured this season. I think beyond the fact he's only 15, which if he'd have played for Norwich this year, he'd have been the youngest player by quite some stretch.
Answer this one, Connor.
Sorry, go on. Possibly, but even on a youth contract, I think there's still a possibility that he could move on. In terms of scholarships and stuff, they're a little bit less robust, give players freedom and whatnot. So we were talking about kind of the rules here rather than anything Norwich could have done to prevent it. You look at Louis Barry's a very good example, who is obviously now at Sheffield United on loan, but was it Hull? He's at Hull, isn't he? I think Hull.
He was at Hull.
He was at Hull.
Yeah.
Sheffield. He's been at Sheffield United. He did a similar thing when he was at West Brom in 2019, made the move to Barcelona, and that was compensation. There wasn't a whole lot that West Brom could do about that. So there are cases of this happening before. I don't see how, if you're anyone really, you could turn down that opportunity. So yeah, good luck to him, and we'll see what happens from here. Obviously, still to be agreed and to be completed. It's a big step going into Barcelona's academy. I think Jonathan makes a very good point here in terms of the level of competition that he's going to face. Let's turn our attentions back on today then, Paddy. High-flying Preston, only been beaten here twice this season. They've beaten Ipswich here, they've beaten Leicester here. They've had a really strong record at Deepdale. Really tough challenge. What do you make of it? How do you see it going this afternoon?
Yeah, it's quite difficult, I think, to pitch it with any degree of confidence, but I just think the more you listen to Clement, I talked about how he decoded the Preston challenge yesterday, the impact he's had on these group of players. They didn't fear that challenge against Southampton last week, and that was a team who were one defeat in 6 wins, and players who played recently in the Premier League, and I know it was Caro, but nevertheless, Norwich played with a personality, collectively and individually, that made you feel that they're not phased now wherever they go and whoever they face, and that's, obviously they're missing their main man in terms of Jemison, but you look down that Preston lineup and they to me look like a team that's the sum of its parts rather than really any standout individuals. So for me, there's no fear factor coming here from Norwich's point of view, irrespective of their top 3 and Norwich are bottom 3. But without Sargent, it's a lot to keep putting on the shoulders of Makama, because with younger players you tend to get that inconsistency. Will him and the 3 young lads behind him be as good as they were against Southampton? No guarantees. I'm going to sit on the fence, go score draw, Connor. You?
I'm going Norwich win, which is I've got a positive feeling about this, which you take that how you want. I'm a bit disconcerted by it, but yeah, I just think where they're at, the improvement in performances, whole week that Clement has had on the training pitch as well. Hopefully they can edge this one. I think it will be tight though, so it wouldn't surprise me if this ended up as a draw. And I think generally games with Preston have been tight because they're so organised and they play on the margin. So I think this is the type of game, I know we say a lot, but you can kind of see all 3 results. But I'm going to go Norwich to edge it 2-1, I think, today. And Paddy, it's the time of year for people to look for presents and whatnot.
Is this where you give me a present?
No, sadly not. No. We are practically giving away subscriptions at the moment. Tell us about the festive offer that these good people can sign up for if they haven't already.
Well, I just saw there was a nice comment there about hit the like button on our YouTube channel, because it is all free, and it is free. But to get the full experience on the Pinkin, we do have a subscription offer, and now is the time really to go on any of the Pinkin socials. It's pinned on there, the full details, the link, but essentially you get everything that we do, good, bad or indifferent, you decide, for £15 right now, and that's to the end of next year, so the whole of 2026. Every
playoff charge.
You said it. Yeah, you said it. But every press conference, every game, home and away, 12:30, Saturday before Christmas, Preston will be here.
In the cold.
Every time there's anything to do with Norwich City, we're across it, hopefully. So, if you're thinking for the Norwich fan in your life, 2 days, 3 days to go, shopping-wise, before Christmas, what do you get them? You could do worse than a Pinkin subscription. It's great value for money. We're contractually obliged to say that, but obviously if you enjoy this sort of content, then there's plenty more of this. And what can you get for £15 in this world now that lasts you for 13 months? Not a lot. So we'd be very grateful if you could come and join us on the journey.
Yep, please do. As I look over to my left, I can see the away end filling up.
Nearly 900.
We're expecting, just about 900 here today. Some of those fans, was it 5:30 this morning the coaches left? Yeah. Remarkable effort for those guys to make what is a very, very long trip up to Lancashire. Thank you very much for watching and for your comments. And this is the last one before Christmas. So thank you very much for your support. I mean, we've got a couple before the New Year, so I won't quite go New Year, but obviously a very Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. A very Merry Christmas to all of you guys and your families. And let's hope Norwich City give you an early present with 3 points here at Deepdale this afternoon. See you soon.